for a little bit. I'm here today to talk about the linear pentatonic scale. So the way I like to view the pentatonic scale, I like to view it moving up the neck. And so it was one of the first scales I learned. My dad was a plumber, and he had a plumbing foreman by the guy by the name of Steve Beatles. And he taught me, one of the first things he taught me on the bass, and I still use it to this day. I play the same similar scale on guitar, different versions of it. There's a million ways to play a pentatonic scale, but I feel like this way is probably the most fun and most expansive because it takes you up the neck. So you start by playing your E, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit about slap bass, but it starts with the E, then we go to the 3rd fret, and then I shift with the index finger. So open, 3, 5, 7. Sorry if this bass sounds like no bueno, but we're going to try it today. Open E, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. And that's where the scale now begins again. And then we do the same pattern. So we start here, and it moves up the neck. And that's often the scale that's used, like when you see Louis Johnson slapping E. I added a couple extra notes in there, and then I added that note in there. Victor Wooten called it, when he was a kid, apparently he called it the James Brown scale. So it was basically an E pentatonic with and that note in that C sharp, making it kind of a Dorian feel. And then also you can add in this F sharp too, which is the 2nd scale degree. But all that aside, the important notes again are open E, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. And you got to think that's where the scale starts over again. It's only a pentatonic scale. Now we could squeeze in the blue notes. This bass sounds terrible. But you know what? We're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it today. That's okay. I'm going to do a bunch of live streams, so if you want to comment and suggest things, and if you like what I do here, support on Patreon or something like that. But yeah, so there's the scale. So if we wanted to go over this again, be E, G, A, B, D, E. And then you're back to E. E, G, A, B, D, E. Is going from guitar to bass a natural transition, like learning all over again. Can you please play the forbidden riff? Well, I don't know what the forbidden riff is. Forbidden riff on bass. I don't know what the forbidden riff is. No, I don't think. So for me, I started on bass and went to guitar. And I play both now, and I feel like going from Stairway. Okay, I had a feeling with Stairway. On bass. I don't know. I'd have to figure it out on guitar. Yeah, that would be interesting. Just. Anyways, that being said, I feel like I tend to look at guitar and bass as very similar. So basically, to me, pun intended, basically, a bass is a guitar an octave lower minus the 2 strings. So if you want to think of going from guitar to bass, you've literally just lost the high B and E string. Although you do kind of want to view scales differently. Like I said, for instance, this pentatonic scale, this way of doing you could do like, say, an A pentatonic like this. But that doesn't, oh, there we go. That's a classic bass line. Something like that. Although I don't have the tone that Chris Squire has. But anyways, so I feel like it's actually maybe an easier transition, but With bass, there's a maturity level that I think, because when I first started playing bass, I wanted to go. I wanted to do that all day. And I still want to do that all day, essentially, but I think there's another maturity level that comes with bass playing where if I can do, I have no problem playing this. Something good is happening over the top of it, I'm happy playing one note. So I feel like, which can be a little, I guess, boring for some people if there's not a lot of interesting things happening. But if something interesting is happening over the music, you don't need a ton of notes. You don't need a fancy bass line or anything. Like I said, I can have fun playing one note if it's a cool groove. Do I like Schecter basses? Sure. Yeah, they're great. People are just, I like this. I don't know that tune. Yeah, but if it's some jazz. The other thing I wanted to I learned late in life. Fall kick. Yeah, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was just this E pentatonic scale. I like the fact that people are asking questions. It's kind of cool. You kind of want to, so if you are transitioning from guitar to bass, the other thing is maybe learning to walk bass lines, listen to bass lines. I think the bass player from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, like that is a lesson in great bass playing. You watch the live at the El Macabre, I forget what it's called, but listen to their version of Texas Flood. Listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble play Texas Flood live, and notice the bass player. He's walking a bass line, and at a certain point in the tune, he just starts doing this. Seamless. It is amazing to hear the bass player all of a sudden just switch into playing chords in the middle of Stevie Ray Vaughan's solo, and you don't even notice it. I remember looking at him and going, "Oh shoot, he's no longer even playing a bass line. He just switched to playing guitar on bass because there's only 3 of them, and he needed to fill out the sound. So he started doing this. Woo! And then when the solo builds back up, he starts walking the bass line again, and just like, it is so cool. So check out Stevie Ray Vaughan, Double Trouble, Texas Flood live. That is an incredible just live performance by Stevie Ray Vaughan and the rhythm section. Undersung, very undersung rhythm section, underrated rhythm section, I would say. Yeah, great blues rock bassist with SRV. Yeah, I forget his name. I'm sad that I should know his name. I should know his name. Baccello? What was it? Oh, I have the music here somewhere for the Baccello suites. Those are great. Everyone should play those. But anyways, I wanted to talk about the pentatonic scale. I've gotten sidetracked talking about all kinds of different things. And then the other thing you want to learn if you are learning bass, I would say, this has become just a full rant now. It doesn't matter. We can talk about the pentatonic scale too, but the other thing would be, it would be learning your roots, fifths, and octaves. So that shape would be like, if you're on the 5th fret here, 7th fret, 7th fret. So 5th fret, 7th fret, 7th fret. So there's your root, your 5th, and then your octave, right? And if you wanted to do a major arpeggio, so this would be like an A major arpeggio, and then a minor arpeggio, the easier way to do it would be here. Oh yeah, Handel's great. But anyways, so learning your arpeggios, learning to connect chords, learning to walk bass lines. The gateway to walking a bass line is learning arpeggios. And just know if the chord is major, minor, or dominant. Just like Joe Pass said, major, minor, or dominant. Granted, if it's a diminished chord, you can probably get away with playing the root, maybe a tritone, or a minor third. You could just go full diminished arpeggio. But most of the time when you're playing bass, you don't need that many notes. Right? So you can get away with a lot, and it still sounds totally awesome. So you don't need to play a bunch of notes when either walking a bass line or accompanying a band. You can keep it relatively simple. So know if the chord's major, which would look like this. Minor would look like this. The confusing thing about bass is you could also go this way. So that would be major. That would be minor, right? Just changing one note. But the difference would be major, minor, or dominant. So dominant would be that pattern. What about Rihanna? You've mentioned that a few times. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with that song. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what this live stream's about, but it was going to be about the linear pentatonic, I guess, which I'll talk about again one more time. So say if you were to do it in A, so you play open A, or you can do the 5th fret here. So A pentatonic would be A, C, D, E, G, A. And there it is. And then from inference, so that's where you kind of can start to learn this 7th fret is equal to that 12th fret. So if I was to keep that logic, but I feel like just the box pentatonic is boring. That's the whole point of this, is to get away from the box pentatonic. That's why I like could talk about slap. Do a quick little slap tutorial too. There's a million ways to slap the bass. You could do that. It's really not, I just think so many things get overthought. You don't need to think about it too much. Like, I'm kind of going through the string, kind of bouncing off the string sometimes. It all depends. Victor Wooten uses his thumb as a pick, going in and out. And you can get good 16th notes that way. And then the other thing is your left-handed mute. So I keep the index finger down, and that's where I'll get the plucks and the mutes. And then I also slap with that hand. So that would be like a triplet. You're basically just drumming on the guitar. And the other thing would be the 16th note pattern, where it's in, out, pluck, hit. In, out, pluck, hit. In, out, pluck, left hand hit. So yeah, it's important to train your ear. And I think that's one of the things I made a live stream about composition, whereas I compose all my music just pen to paper, stream of consciousness. And, I'll write out things like even this chord progression or something like that, where it's just I write out, if you check some of the compositions on my page here, a lot of that music was just written pen to paper, like full stream of consciousness, no instrument needed. Um, yeah, like for instance, here's a little solo line that I composed a while back. If you can internalize certain intervals, like for instance, I know what that sounds like. So I know if I put that on paper, I know what that's going to translate to the page. So if I'm doing a bunch of major arpeggios and they're moving up, I more or less know what that's going to sound like from practicing the instrument. Even sometimes when I'm composing, I'll move my fingers and think of a guitar or something like that. I used to do that a lot when I was a teenager when I'd compose. But yeah, sorry for the ranting. This is a super ranting live stream. But it seems like people like them, so I'm going to keep doing them. If you like what I do, please subscribe to the page. I've got a bunch of original compositions out. I'm a composer. It's kind of my sort of main thing I like doing. I also play a lot of jazz music. I've worked for Disney for the last 12 years as a jazz guitarist. Maybe I'll talk about that on here at some point, what it's like working for one of the largest entertainment companies in the world. I play guitar, but I like to learn all music. Very rad playing, my man. Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. So, yeah, me too. I like all kinds of music as well. So, yeah, so being a professional musician for the last 12 years for a large entertainment company has been interesting. It's put me in contact with a lot of great musicians and super talented people. And maybe I'll discuss that more on another live stream or something. But I think that's it for my ranting this evening. Hope this was helpful to some of you. Have a good night. Peace. Like I said, all the usual YouTube things. Are you union? Yes. Yes. Musicians at Disney are union musicians. I hope you guys enjoyed, but I'll be back. I'm going to try to do these more often. I don't know. I've never worked on a cruise ship. I would like to someday, maybe. That'd be kind of cool. If the gig was right. Yeah. I don't know. Have to be the right gig. So, awesome. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. See you next time.